For years, stretch goals were treated as a hallmark of ambitious leadership in corporate America. Teams were encouraged to aim beyond what seemed realistic. Targets were set deliberately high to push performance, unlock creativity, and signal confidence to investors. Missing those goals was often reframed as progress anyway, because the attempt itself was supposed to drive improvement. In 2026, that philosophy is quietly fading. Across U.S. companies, stretch goals are declining, not because ambition disappeared, but because the cost of overreaching has become clearer than the benefits. The biggest reason stretch goals are losing favor is persistent uncertainty. Stretch goals work best in stable environments where assumptions hold long enough for effort to compound. Today's business environment rarely offers that stability. Interest rates, regulation, labor conditions, technology shifts, and customer behavior all change faster than planning cycles. Goals designed to stretch performance often become irrelevant before teams can fully pursue them. What once motivated now distracts. Execution risk plays a central role in this shift. Stretch goals push organizations to operate at the edge of capacity. In the past, that pressure was manageable. Today, systems are already complex and tightly coupled. Pushing harder increases the chance of failure rather than breakthrough. Missed deadlines, quality issues, and operational breakdowns become more likely. Leaders increasingly recognize that consistent execution creates more value than heroic effort. Another factor is credibility. Repeatedly setting stretch goals and missing them damages trust inside organizations. Employees become cynical when targets feel unrealistic from the start. Over time, stretch goals stop motivating and start signaling that leadership is disconnected from reality. In 2026, companies place greater value on goals that teams believe in and commit to, even if those goals are less dramatic. Investor expectations have also changed. Markets are more skeptical of aggressive projections that fail to materialize. Companies that consistently meet realistic targets are rewarded more than those that miss ambitious ones. Stretch goals increase the risk of guidance misses, which can outweigh any upside from occasional overperformance. Boards now favor predictability over spectacle. Cost discipline reinforces this trend. Stretch goals often justify aggressive spending, hiring, or expansion in pursuit of future results. When conditions change, those commitments become burdens. Companies have learned that chasing stretch outcomes can lock them into cost structures that are hard to unwind. More measured goals support better alignment between ambition and resources. Workforce dynamics matter as well. Stretch goals frequently demand sustained intensity. Over time, that leads to burnout. Employees face constant pressure to exceed expectations without corresponding stability. In a labor market where retention and engagement matter, companies are rethinking goals that extract short-term effort at the expense of long-term performance. There is also a clearer understanding of diminishing returns. Research and experience show that extreme targets do not always produce better outcomes. Beyond a certain point, pressure reduces decision quality. Teams take shortcuts, hide problems, or focus on optics instead of substance. Companies are recognizing that well-calibrated goals often outperform stretch goals in complex environments. Technology has changed how progress is measured, which weakens the case for stretch goals. Real-time data exposes gaps quickly. When performance falls behind unrealistic targets, the gap becomes visible early. Instead of motivating, that visibility discourages teams. More achievable goals allow data to guide improvement rather than highlight constant failure. Strategically, companies are shifting from aspiration to resilience. Stretch goals emphasize upside. Modern strategy emphasizes survival under pressure. Leaders ask whether the organization can perform consistently across scenarios, not whether it can exceed expectations in the best case. This naturally favors achievable goals over stretch ones. Importantly, the decline of stretch goals does not mean ambition is gone. Ambition has moved to a different level. Instead of stretching quarterly numbers, companies stretch systems, capabilities, and resilience. They aim to improve reliability, reduce complexity, and strengthen foundations. These goals are less flashy, but more durable. Some organizations replace stretch goals with ranges rather than single targets. This acknowledges uncertainty while preserving direction. Others focus on relative improvement instead of absolute outcomes. Success is defined by progress against baseline, rather than hitting an extreme number. Leadership incentives have adjusted as well. Compensation and evaluation increasingly reward consistency, risk management, and long-term health. Stretch goals that encourage risky behavior conflict with these incentives. As evaluation criteria change, goal setting follows. The quiet nature of this shift is important. Companies rarely announce they are abandoning stretch goals. The change happens internally through planning processes, performance reviews, and budget discussions. Targets become more grounded. Language shifts from breakthrough to sustainable. Why the quiet decline of stretch goals in corporate America makes sense comes down to realism. Stretch goals were designed for a different era, one with more predictable conditions and greater tolerance for volatility. That era has passed. In 2026, the companies that perform best are not those that aim furthest beyond reach. They are the ones that align goals with capacity, execute reliably, and adapt quickly when conditions change. Ambition still exists, but it is expressed through durability rather than overextension. Stretch goals once symbolized confidence. Today, well-calibrated goals symbolize maturity. Companies are learning that progress does not require constant overreach. It requires clarity, commitment, and consistency. The decline of stretch goals is not a retreat from high performance. It is an evolution in how high performance is pursued. In an environment defined by uncertainty, the most effective goals are not the most aggressive ones, but the ones organizations can actually deliver on, quarter after quarter.